How's it going, my dreamers? This is Born to Dream, back with another raid boss guide for you guys. And today we will be doing Jynx. I'm really excited to jump back into these raid boss guides, and I'm really happy that we got some new raid bosses because I love doing these raid boss guides for you guys, and you guys give me good feedback on this, and it just makes me want to keep doing it more. So, if you like these raid boss guides, let me know. If there's anything that you think I need to improve on, let me know that as well. Because I love doing these, and they're probably the most popular thing currently on my channel. So, again, thank you guys. But today we will be talking about Raid Boss Jynx. I already have all of the Raid Boss battles taken care of. Yeah, we're ready to do this. So, first things first, you guys are going to be very surprised. If you don't know anything about Jynx, you guys are going to be very surprised about this attack stat that Jynx has. And it is 29th among 180 Pokemon. I don't know why they don't have the full list. Maybe that's all fully evolved Pokemon or whatever. But it is one of the best. It is the best ice type attacker. Excuse me. Currently among current ice types, even better than Articuno. This Jynx right here is the best ice type attacker, probably for just this gen because Mamoswine is coming next gen. So yeah, this will probably be the last gen that Jynx is the best ice type attacker. But if you're looking to do some Rayquaza raids, then I highly suggest doing a few Jynx raids. Especially if you want to get into duoing or trioing Rayquaza, because you need Jynxes for that purpose. Jynx is incredibly frail, and as a raid boss, it isn't much better. Jynx is just like Gengar, not 100% like Gengar, but it's this. Pretty much like when you fight a Jynx, it's just like fighting a Gengar in that they both hit very hard, but they're incredibly frail, and you just have to be able to weather the hits. And if you are able to take on the damage, you should have no problem taking Jynx or Gengar out very quickly. So yeah, that's basically Jynx in a nutshell. If you're looking for perfect CP, well, first off, you're not looking for minimum IVs, but the minimum IVs is 1363. So if you have a 1363 Jynx, I'm sorry, that is a 10 across the board Jynx. If you get a 1435, that is a perfect non-weather boosted Jynx. And I guess I can show you guys weather boosted right here, right there. So that is a level 25 weather boosted Jynx. Minimum CP is 1530. Max CP is 1794. So you're 5 levels closer to getting that level 40 Jynx, so you can duel that Rayquaza. So So now we're going to go ahead and get into the movesets here. And Jynx has a few legacy moves. I forgot he even got Pound. That's definitely a really old move. But anyways, so the moveset you're looking for is Frost Breath Avalanche, Confusion Avalanche, Confusion Psyshock, Frost Breath Psyshock, Frost Breath Draining Kiss, and Confusion Draining Kiss. Those are the 6 moves, 6 possible movesets that Jynx has. The hardest, I would say, is probably this right here. Either Frost Breath and Avalanche or Confusion Avalanche. As you can see, that's a A for defense. So raid bosses are usually it's like fighting a mega defender. So yeah, that's basically what it's like. So I would probably say Confusion Avalanche is the hardest, but and it hits the hardest too. But so Another thing about Jynx that I forgot to mention is Jynx has a ton of weaknesses. Ice types naturally have a lot of weaknesses, so that's Jynx is no exception. You got bug type weakness, a fire type weakness, a rock type weakness, dark type weakness, steel and ghost type. Ice and psychic, which is what Jynx is, are that's the only two resistances that Jynx has. So for this reason, you can use a variety of Pokemon to take this thing down. So as we get into the counters here, um, so your supreme counters are going to be Entei and Metagross. Entei is not the hardest hitting fire type, but where it edges over Moltres is Entei is just a pure fire type, where Moltres is a fire flying type. Flying type is weak to ice, so that's where Entei has an edge over Moltres. It can eat up the ice hits a lot better than Moltres can. And then Metagross just resists everything. Anything Jynx does to Metagross, Metagross fully resists. So if you just dumped a bunch of rare candies into your Beldum and got a Metagross, well, congrats, because you're going to have a really easy time soloing Jynx. Your good counters are going to be Moltres, Tyranitar, Mewtwo, and Flareon. And then there's a bunch of others too. I can give you guys like stuff like Scizor. You guys will see me using Scizor in this in these solos against Jynx. Scizor can resist basically all of Jynx's movesets. Steel typing resists Ice, Psychic, and Fairy. So I would generally say that using a Steel type is a very, very good idea as long as that Steel type is a very good attacker. That would be what I would recommend, and then fire types after that. So there's Scizor, and then I'm looking at this little graph here, and Houndoom works. You can use Houndoom, you can use Arcanine, you can use Aggron as a tank, you can use Gengar as a glass cannon, you can use Banette as a glass cannon, and you can also use Golem as long as you're not fighting Jynx in with double ice moves. You can use Golem against Jynx and be perfectly fine. Especially if you are doing it in partly cloudy weather, that's even better for you because partly cloudy weather is boosted by rock moves. And speaking of partly cloudy weather, we're going to talk about what weather is best for Jynx. So, I mentioned partly cloudy weather. So I would say the best weather for Jynx would be clear weather because of fire types, rainy weather because of bug types, and foggy weather because of both dark and ghost types. So I would highly recommend, if you're starting out against Jynx and you're not too sure about if you could solo a Jynx, start out with one of these three weathers. You can go in with a partly cloudy group of golems, but keep in mind that Jynx is a ice type, so if you are going up against an ice move Jynx, it's going to hit you very hard, and you're going to have a very difficult time taking down the Jynx. Same goes for snowy weather, because you have steel types that are boosted by snow, but again, if Jynx has, ice moves, then it's going to deal a lot of damage to you in general. Although, I guess if you just went in with pure steel types and you went in with a few fire types, you might be okay. But I would generally recommend not doing snowy weather unless you're sure you can beat the Jynx and you want to get boosted Jynx. Cloudy weather doesn't do anything for you. That's fighting psychic, poison. None of that is good for Jynx. And then windy weather is probably going to be the hardest if you're fighting the Confusion Psyshock set. But windy weather will boost Jynx to level 25. So if you want a boosted Jynx, Go for windy. Go for snowy weather if you actually get snow, unlike some people. Um, go for one of these two weathers if you can for Jynx if you want to get that level 25 Jynx. So I think that about covers it. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to jump into the battles right now. Alright, so first off, we have Draining Kiss. I think this is Confusion Draining Kiss Jynx. This is by far the easiest because most of the Pokemon that you're bringing, Fire and Steel types, mainly, completely resist Draining Kiss. So, you can use those Pokemon to resist Draining Kiss and you will be okay. You guys see me using Scizor here, which is a Steel type, and it takes these Draining Kisses just fine. It's not really too big of a problem for Scizor, and yeah, you can see just how little that Draining Kiss is doing to Scizor. Ideally, you want to bring in Steel and Fire types, so like Flareon, Entei, Moltres for your Fire types, Scizor, Metagross, and Aggron as a tank for your Steel types. Also using Gengar because Poison does also resist Draining Kiss, so Gengar is a good mon to use against the Draining Kiss variant. The only thing is you don't really want to use Gengar against Confusion because Confusion does a lot of damage to Gengar. So next up we got Moltres, and I think Moltres is pretty much the one that, well, Moltres is going to do a lot of damage to this thing. Like I said, Jynx does do a lot of damage, but not with Draining Kiss, but with Psycho Cut, Psycho Shock, and Avalanche for sure. But you guys can see how fast this Jynx is going down too. It's not bulky at all. So if you are able to eat up the hits, you should be alright. It's just like Gengar. It's just like Gengar, except you gotta use different Pokemon for Jynx than you do Gengar. Not completely, because you can use Tyranitar against Jynx. You could use a full T-Tar team against Jynx and be absolutely fine. But you have way more options for Jynx than you did with Gengar. So I don't even know like what IDs this Flareon has. This is a random Flareon that I just evolved from an Eevee, and I gave it Ember and Overheat, and I just started going to work with it. But it's doing quite a bit of damage, and I think I'm gonna beat this at about 30-something seconds, which is like really good for a level 3 solo. So I think I just beat things at like 30 seconds now because I have a lot of stuff that's already powered up and that I can just easily use against Jynx. You really shouldn't have any trouble with Draining Kiss, assuming you have the right mons for Jynx. So, yeah. Another thing about Jynx, as we get into the catching screen here, is Jynx jumps a lot. So I wouldn't even bother with the set ball trick. Jynx is really easy to catch. So, you guys will see me catch it right here, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's not hard to catch at all. So, yeah. Next up, we have Psycho Shock Jynx. This is actually Confusion Psycho Shock. So you can use dark types here. That is perfectly fine. You guys see me using the 3 T-Tars down there. You don't have to use T-Tars. You can use Absols. You can use Houndooms as well. You can use Steel types like Scizor and Metagross if you have those. So you guys see me using Gengar, and this is actually a good example of how frail Gengar is compared to Jynx. I think it takes it out with like 4 confusions. Yeah, and then it goes for the Psycho Shock there. It could have taken me out with 4 confusions right there. You guys see me using Mewtwo here. Again, you don't have to use Mewtwo. I'm just sort of showing off Mewtwo because why not? but Mewtwo is not necessary. Another Gengar here, a Bennett, Cheetar, Houndoom, etc., all work for double Psychic Jynx. Basically, you're fighting this variant of Jynx just like you would fight double Psychic Alakazam. I think, though, that Psyshock has 2 bars, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think it has 2 bars for Psycho Shock. So, yeah. So, it fires it off a decent amount, and I didn't dodge with that Bennett. I should have dodged there, but going in with this maxed out T-Tar, and we usually hit yellow at around 100-something seconds. This is actually my first Jynx raid, and it's not quite, yeah, 95 seconds. That's close to 100 seconds. Like I said, you just want to get it to yellow before 90 seconds. So if you get Jynx to yellow at like 100 or more seconds, you're doing very nicely. You're probably going to finish the solo. So, yeah, just doing more biting and crunching. Like I said, you can use Stone Edge, and Stone Edge might be ideal for partly cloudy conditions, but traditionally you run Crunch on T-Tar, so that's what I'm doing here. We get it to red at probably about 58 seconds. Yeah, this is definitely, I definitely finished this. So going in with T-Tar number 2, doing the same thing, biting, crunching. Another thing is, you don't really need to dodge. Well, I don't need to dodge too much with Jynx. Maybe for you probably will, depending on what Pokemon you have. It does do a lot of damage, but Jynx has moves that have at least 2 bars to them, so it's not easy to dodge every single charge move. It's not like fighting, let's say, Focus Blast Gengar, where you can dodge one Focus Blast from Gengar and be okay for the next, 10 or 15 seconds. Jynx is a little harder than that, so got it with about 18 seconds there. It's not bad for a first try at Jynx, and yeah, this is actually the video where you guys see Jynx jumping a lot. I'm almost convinced that this thing doesn't even like. I mean, it's attacking, but it's well, yeah, it's attacking now. I guess it wasn't this video. Maybe it's the next one. I don't know. If it pops out, it's probably this video. Yeah, I think this was the video where it just kept. Yeah, there we go. Look at Jynx's face when it jumps. It's so hilarious. And I don't even need to talk about like how to throw an excellent at this Jynx. It's pretty obvious. And pretty hilarious at the same time. Like the area you aim for. So. But yeah, we managed to catch it here. So. Yeah, it's gonna lag a bit. Okay, no, we don't catch it. Damn it. Well, I catch it eventually. Alright, and last but not least, this is going to be Frost Breath Avalanche Jynx. I don't know if I knew that it had Frost Breath Avalanche at the start, but it was giving me a lot of fire types, so I figured, it probably has Avalanche. So, if you're going up against the ice variant of Jynx, you're going to want to use fire types, you're going to want to use steel types. Those are the Pokemon that you mainly want to use for Jynx. You guys see me using Gengar again. Legacy moveset Gengar is really good against the ice variants, not so much for confusion. As you can see, Gengar is doing pretty well against this Jynx. Again, it has double ice moves, so I'm not taking a lot of damage from confusion, and I'm not taking a lot of damage from Psycho Shock. So, yeah, and look at all the damage I'm doing with this Jynx right now. It just now takes me out. Look at all that damage. It's crazy. Legacy Gengar is so freaking good. So next up we got Scizor. going for the typical Scizor stuff, Fairy Cutter, X Scissor. I was thinking about using, well, no, never mind. I was gonna say I was thinking about using Sceptile against this, but that probably wouldn't be the smartest idea to use a Grass type against a Ice type like that. I don't know. It might do decently in clear weather if Jynx doesn't have, if it doesn't have either Ice move. Maybe, I don't know. I'm probably talking BS. Don't use Sceptile. Yeah, we managed to get this at like 102 seconds, but Jynx is doing a lot of damage though, and it's already on my Flareon, and it's about to take out my Flareon. I don't think I didn't get this overheat off. This is racking up very quickly. So, Avalanche Jynx I think is the worst moveset to go up against. I think Fusion Avalanche is probably the worst move to fight. Don't try that moveset until you have the previous movesets down pat. But I managed to dodge the overheat, and you guys can see how much damage I'm doing to the Jynx. But now I'm on my T-Tar, and yeah, I basically try to use a variety. I try to use a variety for most of these videos to show you guys just all the stuff you can use against Jynx. And this doesn't just apply to Jynx either. Piloswine has a lot of weaknesses too. So if you're planning on soloing Piloswine, it has just about as many weaknesses, if not more, than Jynx. So keep that in mind if you want to raid Piloswine, which I'll do a video on that, of course. But yeah, I managed to dodge that Avalanche there, and we probably got this with 23 seconds. I would say 23 seconds there. So yeah, that basically does it for Jynx. So I like to thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. In the next video, I don't know if I'll do Piloswine or Azumarill next. I've done an Azumarill raid so far. I haven't found any Piloswine raids, but like I said before, it's really easy finding these raid bosses now because I don't have to filter through a bunch of other raid bosses that I've already done raid guides for. Instead, I could just give you guys the new ones, basically, and they're easier to find than what it was before when they had like 6 or 7 tier 3s, and I had to just filter through all that RBS. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Keep living the dream. Goodbye.